Interesting topic, I think. This idea that we're all leaving an impression on reality. Would you agree that each and every one of us in our own unique way is, while we're here, is leaving a bit of an impression? In other words, in this pond or lake analogy that we're using, we all have an angle on it, and each and every one of us is throwing our own personal pebbles, sometimes boulders, into the pond, and they inevitably land. And there's no doubt that the our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are going to leave an impression on the whole, and yet everyone else is doing it at the same time. It becomes mind-boggling, the interference pattern that results from that, and yet it says in all the world's great scriptures that each and every pebble that's thrown into the pond from each and every individual, both the individual and the collective result, is it's kept track of. Santa is watching you. He knows whether you're naughty or nice, so to speak, and especially important this time of year. But there's actually something in yoga, perhaps you've heard of it. It's called the Akashic Record, and it's this mind-boggling concept, reality perhaps, that every movement, every pebble that's been thrown into the pond by every individual throughout all of time there's a perfect record kept of it, and it's called the Akashic Record. And as much as many of us would like to escape or avoid or deny that, there it is right there. And so certain spiritual teachers have shown up on the planet to say in no uncertain terms that whatever we do comes back around to us, right? This is Buddha, for example. He's probably the primary teacher in human history that taught karma. If you throw something into the pond, it's coming back around. And if you think you're going to avoid it, think again, because the wheels of karma turn very slowly sometimes, but there's no avoiding it. If you send out a kindness to the universe, it is sent back. If you send out something less than that, it is most assuredly sent back. And so, of course, this is just another way of saying cause and effect. So we're all throwing pebbles into this pond, and if we're throwing good pebbles in, if we're leaving good impressions on life, we'll live a joyous, happy, and free life. And yet, most of us are a bit of a mixed bag. One of the most interesting examples of the Akashic Record is the ever widening body of experience that comes from near-death experience, and how the vast majority of those who report back near-death experiences, and more are being reported back all the time, A, because of the medical capacity to bring people back from the brink, and B, because of the incredible capacity of modern media to keep track of stories that were lost many years ago. But near-death experience, the body of it is growing so rapidly, and there's so many scientific studies in scientific journals now. But one of the things that's reported is quote unquote Judgment Day. You go through the tunnel, and there's the white light, and I don't know if you know this, but the first people to greet you when you get on the other side are your pets. They come running out to get you and lick your face. But then there's a moment where almost everybody reports where there's this staggering experience of seeing the impression that you left on life, and you see it from every conceivable angle, and you see it all at once. It's mind-boggling, isn't it? But we see every kindness that we gave to the world, but we also feel every time that we kicked the dog, or we yelled at the spouse, or that we flipped off somebody on the freeway, or some stuff that might be worse than that. And it's quite daunting. And how are we ever going to overcome all these pebbles, all these impressions that we've ever left in the pond? It's mind-boggling, especially if some of us have lived less than perfect lives. Well, you know what's interesting is you don't have to wait You don't have to wait till the end of your life to clean it up. Another great spiritual teacher came on the planet who very much taught cause and effect. And here's how he said it: with what you measure, so it will be measured back to you. With what you meet, it will be meted back to you. And some people say, wow, did Jesus really say that? Was Jesus teaching what Buddha taught? Absolutely the same principle. But Jesus went on to teach something quite significant. And again, I'm not proselytizing. I'm simply using a broad perspective of what the great spiritual masters have taught. But Jesus taught forgiveness, which means we can have forgiveness for all the pebbles that we've thrown into the pond, the negative ones. The Akashic record can be cleaned up. We no longer have to live under the lash of what we've done if we clean it up. Now, there's another spiritual program on the planet, and I swear I'm wrapping this up in a moment, where it's actually part of the program to clean up the errors and the mistakes that you've made. It's actually called the 8th and the 9th step in the 12-step program. It says, oh, by the way, if you're going to kind of overcome some of your problems, you might want to make a list of the people you screwed. And then as long as you don't make it worse, you can kind of go out there and clean it up. It's interesting. It's fascinating premise. Perhaps more religions should include that. But what I'm getting at today is that if we start now by throwing only good pebbles into the pond from our angle, and we begin to clean up the pebbles or perhaps the boulders we've thrown in, our view of reality clears. We begin to see things as they are. And that simply means that inside of our own soul is reflected a bliss and a love and a joy of our original and pristine condition. So there. So Looney says, have a beautiful day, throw good pebbles. And if you need forgiveness, it's there waiting for you. I'll see you guys tomorrow.